It's the rest day in the Anand Gelfand World Championship match, and time to reflect on the first two games. Well, so far we've had two relatively short draws. They've been quite tense encounters, perhaps not to everyone's taste. Personally, I found them rather deep. There's been a dynamic equilibrium was maintained, but only by very precise play. If either player had played inaccurately, then the whole thing could have tipped over, and I think we'd have seen much longer games. So very, very tense so far, but clearly not to the taste of a lot of chess fans around the world who are looking for more exciting encounters. It's been a slow burner so far, but I'm sure the match will catch fire at some point. But I think maybe it's to be expected because, you know, both Anand and Gelfand have very even temperaments, so I think we're going to see a lot of this kind of chess in the match. But okay, to satisfy the bloodlust of a lot of you out there, I'm going to show you a game from the World Championship match from 2 years ago between Anand and Topalov. Now, that was a very different kind of encounter where you had Topalov, who is kind of bursting with energy and is quite an erratic player, sometimes absolutely brilliant, but then the next moment playing rather poor chess as well. So because of that, we saw some very, very exciting chess indeed. Let me show you game 4 of that match. Well, here Anand had the white pieces, and you can see he's built up very well indeed with his rooks in the middle of the board, queen in the middle, a beautifully placed knight in the middle of the board, and he swung a knight over to the king's side, and here he sacrificed the knight for 2 pawns, and of course that means he's exposed Black's king and got his queen right in the face of Black's king. Now, if the queen is just left there on its own, it only needs one more piece and it'll be able to force a checkmate. So it's vital that Black connects with his queen on to the king side, and this is really the theme of this attack. If Black can get his queen over to defend, then White's attack will come to nothing. So that's why Topalov played the pawn to f6. He's now threatening to swing his queen across, and that will neutralize White's queen here. So it's vital that Anand reacts very quickly in this position, and therefore he played e5. Now this is a very strong move indeed. So he's simply threatening to capture the bishop on c6. Therefore Topalov has to take the bishop here. Now Anand did not recapture. Instead he played pawn takes pawn. Now that's an excellent move. First of all, it prevents the queen coming over to neutralize White's queen, and it also means if the queen swings over here, then the queen can just nudge back and check on g5, and again there'll be no exchange of queens on g7. Now Topalov was desperate to reduce White's attacking forces, so he took the knight on d6 and Anand captured the rook, and then Topalov brought the bishop back to e4. I'm going to return to that position at the end actually and set you a little puzzle, but let's see exactly what happened in the game. So the bishop comes back and is trying to defend on the king's side. Anand captured on e6. Now this means that the rook is now threatening the bishop here, but also threatens to come down, shutting out the queen, and then it'll be checkmate here. Topalov tried to counterattack with knight d3, so suddenly there's a threat of queen takes f2, supported by the knight. So Anand played very calmly, rook c2, just protecting the pawn on f2. So now there's still a threat to the bishop and a threat to come here with the rook. Topalov tried queen h7, and now Anand played f7 check. If rook takes, then rook e8 forces a checkmate. So let's just go back. So instead Topalov captured with queen takes f7, and now rook takes bishop. There's a threat to play rook g4 and mate. So Topalov played queen f5, but after rook e7 he had to resign the game. There's a threat of mate with queen g7. Let's just see what would happen if black blocks with rook f7, and now white can actually force a checkmate with rook c8 check. If queen takes, then queen g6 check, and now we can do it all with checks. Queen check, and queen takes rook check, and queen h7 mate, for example. Okay, a beautiful attack from Anand. Let me just take you back a few moves, and I'm going to set you a little puzzle. Of course, you can always pause this clip and try to work out the solution. So this position, this is where Topalov took the bishop back to e4. But my question for you is this: how would Anand win if his opponent had played bishop to d5, which looks on the surface of it a more logical move because it tries to shut out this rook? The bishop of course protects the pawn on e6. So how does white break through in this position? Queen's in an excellent position, but the queen needs some support. If you want to pause, try to find the solution, do so now, otherwise I'm going to show you the solution. There's a very nice winning continuation. First of all, a check. The king has to go in the corner. So what we need to do now is, if we can get a rook here, then we're going to force checkmate. And we can get a rook there. First of all, we play rook c4. Threat, rook h4, and destruction. Of course, black can take. And now here's the clever bit. The rook is now free and can come back here, and again the same threat, rook h4. Of course the queen could take the rook, but then queen g7 is mate. Okay, let's just go back. And if queen h7, we play rook h4 anyway, and if queen takes rook, queen g7 is mate. And if rook here, well, we can simply take that rook because of the pin, and it's going to be mate next move. Beautiful attack from Anand. Perhaps we'll see attacks like that in this match, but I think it's going to be very tense and very close indeed. See you for a report of Game 3